The Daily Duppy series on GRM Daily is a staple on the UK. Millions of views worldwide and it's instantly recognizable. But what actually makes it stand out? It's the edits. Well, today you're in luck. I'm going to show you how you can recreate that iconic Daily Duppy look in a super beginner friendly tutorial. This is the example we're going through today, a super basic version. If you don't want to see more complex ones, be sure to let me know, and depending on performance we might do it. No more chat though, let's get straight into the tutorial. Let's go. Alright then, so jumping straight into After Effects, I'm going to teach you how to do something like this. Okay, so this is the base clip I'm going to be using. You can see we've got a bit of camera movement here, but not too much so we can avoid the tracking. However, if you're using a clip that has a lot of movement, for example like this clip here, there's two methods I recommend. Method number one, you add in a 3D camera tracker. You can find it in your effects, or you can find it in the tracker tab, which will be somewhere in your interface. And if that decides to fail on you, no matter what you can do, you can also track the motion of, let's say, the mic itself. First thing before anything, I'm going to click this little button here, which is motion blur, then this button, which is to enable it as a 3D layer. This is going to be super vital later on, so make sure you check these. Alright then, so I'm going to open a new text layer and type in my lyrics. I'm not going to be doing lyrics for this case, I'm just going to say Lowski, okay? Here is my font. I'm not even going to bother pronouncing it, and then it's bold italic. Alright, two things. First thing you're going to do is highlight all of the letters, disable fill, and enable stroke. I'm going with a yellow color as I've already set it, and I put the width, this is the width right here, to 3 pixels for now. You can always change it later on, it doesn't really matter too heavy. Now I'm going to add in two different effects. I'm going to add in deep glow, and I'm also going to add in a drop shadow. This is my final effects for the layer. You can see my settings here if you want to copy them. Now onto the wiggling animation you see on a lot of the text. Intermission. I gotta give flowers to the guy behind all of these edits in the first place. His name is Don from This and That Media. He's been on the Daily Duppy series for 4 years, I believe, with over 120 different episodes. He's crafted this amazing style over the years that's only been getting better and better. I gotta give him his flowers, man. This is his Instagram page, be sure to go check him out. I'm just showing you a very basic take on it, but let's get straight back into the tutorial. Once you're here on properties, you need to look at this here, the anchor point. This right here is your anchor point. You need to move that right to the middle of your text. So you can see it's roughly in the middle, it doesn't have to be perfect, but this is vital and you'll see why. Once you've done that, highlight your text layer and press R so rotation pops up, and then press O on the stopwatch with the left click and type in wiggle. You can copy my values if you want. I'm going to use 2,10. Now watch the magic happen. And there you go, that's how you can make a similar sort of wiggle to the text. On to the next step. So I'm also going to be adding in a flicker just with Sapphire over here. If you don't have Sapphire, be sure to check out my tutorial on how you can make a flicker for completely free. But you can see now we've got a nice little flicker. When I say little, that's a bit too much, so I'm going to lower it down to, let's say, 2,500. Still a bit too much, so 0.1 is fine for me. Now it's time for the entry animation. First you need to place it with your left click where you want it to start. I want it to roughly be around here. Then you need to do the same thing, 3D layer and motion blur. Okay, once you've done that, press P, and then keyframe position. Move this one a bit to the right because this is where we want it to come in from. Then go all the way back to the left from the beginning and drag it all the way up. From here, highlight both of these, F9 to easy ease, go into the graph editor over here, highlight the right side and drag it to the left, so you have a graph kind of looking like this. We're one step closer, on to the next step. I was going to put the Harlem Spartans logo in, but I found this really high quality version of Lowski's logo on his website, so I'm going to be using this. Let's turn it into something usable for our effect. First thing I'm going to do is add in a tint, just like this. Then I'm going to add in a brightness and contrast. We're one step closer. Next thing is going to add in a luma key, okay? Change it to key out brighter and slowly mark it up until you have something looking like this. This is roughly what I'm looking like, but it's pretty hard to see everything. So now what I'm going to do is add in another effect called levels. Then I'm going to drag the left side all the way to the right so it becomes white, because that's what I want it to look like. From here I'm going to pre-compose all these effects together just to make my life a bit easier. Make sure I've got these two clicked as well. Press OK. Then I'm going to use the pen tool and make a mask around the logo. Something rough, it doesn't have to be amazing. But that does it fine for me. That gets rid of that little side artifacts we had, and there's no kind of dust or anything around it from the noise, so I think we're okay to go. Next thing I'm going to do is add in a deep glow just like this. I'm going to lower the radius same way and lower the exposure just until I get like a light haze sort of look. So I'm happy with a radius of 194 and 0.09. It's not much, but trust me, it makes a difference. Have a look at this. Big difference. So now, onto the 3D layer. Remember I was telling you how important it was. Click these two again, bring it to where your text is and size it down to however big you want it to be. Then from here, go back onto the Lowski layer, press the position and bring the Z value forward by dragging to the left. This is X, this is Y, this is Z. And you can see now we've got some text in front of the logo. But I'm going to do the same process if you remember. Go back onto properties and move the anchor point to the middle of the belly. Yeah, you're going to bring the Z value forward once you've highlighted both of these so it stays consistent. And there we go, just like that. Perfect. Then the next thing you need to do is make sure your anchor point is in the middle of your belly, just like this. Same way we did for the text, just to make sure we get a nice wiggle in there. Now alt click on Z rotation and type in wiggle, same way, and then 2-10, comma 10, sorry. So now this is what we got. We're getting closer. One thing I'm gonna do to make the clip a bit smoother is drag out this keyframe a bit more, highlight these, and make the curve a bit more exaggerated, if that makes sense. So now to me that's much better. And what I want is the Lowski logo to pop up and shoot out basically. So what I'm going to do is go onto the logo and then press S and keyframe scale. Okay, I'm going to go roughly to where it drops into where it needs to be and leave the main keyframe there for 100% or 79 in my case. Then I'm going to go slightly back and put this down to 0. Then go back to where I want it to land in and move this one to the side a bit, and then bring this one bigger than before. So essentially it's going to go from nothing, big, and then back to normal. So in other terms, it's overshooting. So now you can see this is what we've got, but it's not smooth. And you wonder why that is? It's because you haven't easy your keyframes. So highlight all of these, press F9, and you can automatically see a difference. But it's still not smooth enough to me, so I need to do something with the graph. You're more than welcome to copy what I do. I'm going to drag this one this way and drag this one this way. So it kind of goes up and down. After roughly adjusting all of the keyframes, this is what I'm left with. I've not changed anything else, don't worry, I've just moved around the clip slightly. But I'm pretty happy with the left side. Now onto the right side. Since I'm not doing any text edits and this is a really simple breakdown, I'm just going to be using the Daily Duppy logo. Now this one's a lot more simple because we haven't got like a grainy texture on top of it. So all you really need to do with this one is add in a luma key, then key out brighter and just up the threshold until you can see the Daily Duppy logo again. I'm going to move it over to the left side so I can see what I'm doing. Roughly until you can't see the yellow edges anymore, that's fine by me. First off, I don't want the GRM Daily logo just for this time, so I'm going to go into the mask tool and go around it and basically avoid that logo until I got something looking like this. Now, next thing to make it white is going to tint and map the black to white. And there you go. Now to make it Daily Duppy style, I'm going to size it down a bit. At least now you know how to remove backgrounds and tint your images to different colors. So I'm going to add in the same sort of effects that we did for the Lowski kind of text over here. A deep glow, this is my settings if you want to copy it. You see, because I'm on the other side, I don't really need a drop shadow as much because I'm not adding anything behind it either. So I'm just going to stick with how it is here. Like I said, I'm keeping it super simple as an entry. And if you guys like these tutorials, I'll do more complex ones if you let me know in the comments. So I'm going to go into the properties and just double check my anchor point is fine. It's already in the middle, so I'm safe to do the rotation wiggle. So I'm going to press R, alt click the rotation, press wiggle just like this, and I'm going to go with 2,10 once again. So we're nearly there. I'm just going to do a really simple quick keyframe animation for the Daily Duppy logo, and I'm going to leave it at that. So I'm going to press P on the Daily Duppy logo and keyframe the position because I want it to enter in roughly about there. Then I'm going to drag this all the way to the right hand side. Then I'm going to highlight both of these. So I'm going to F9 it and then go into the graph editor, highlight the right side and drag it to the left. Kind of same curve as before. But you see, it doesn't look right, does it? There's something off here. Do you remember what I was telling you about these two boxes here and how important they were? You're about to find out. It's motion blur. It's so important when it comes to making these motion graphic style edits to avoid it looking choppy and kind of lower budget. Once you're roughly happy with the flow of your motion graphics, we can always move it later. It's time to get into camera animation now. So you're going to go right click, new, camera. You can use 1 node or 2 node for this one. It doesn't really matter, but we might expand into those a bit later. The preset I'm using is 35mm, but like I said, use whatever you like, depending on the look you want, of course. So I'm going to go into the drop down menu of the camera, transform, point of interest and position needed keyframe. Let me give you a rough brainstorm on how I'm going to do this simple edit kind of animation for the camera. You see when the Lowski edit flies in, just like this, I want to do a quick zoom in when that comes in and another quick zoom when the logo pops out behind it. So it's going to go zoom in there. And then we're going to slide to the right hand side when the Daily Duppy logo comes in. So I'm going to move these roughly to where it begins and then roughly to where it ends. So I'll stop it about there and use this dolly tool over here, hold left click and drag in just like this, and you can see it starting to move about now. I'll try not to zoom in too much because we're doing 2 here. So I'm going to move across until the belly gets to the height of its like scale, which is here, and zoom in once more like this. Then I'm going to Control C to copy it, and then you see where it comes in about here. I'm going to go a bit beforehand and press Ctrl V so the camera stays about where it is there. And then once this comes in, I'm going to use this one here, which is the pan tool, and drag it to the right hand side like this. So now this is what we've got, but there's still something off here. It's not as smooth as it could be. And you know why? You already know why, because we said it earlier. F9 to easy ease, time to get into the graph editor. Load up all of these and you can copy mine if you'd like. I'm adding in a slight curve to the left over here, so it kind of exits smoothly. And at the start, I'm going to do pretty much the same thing. And then it will slightly transition into this one here. I'll make it bigger so you guys can see it. You can copy my graph if you'd like, by all means. Alright then, so this is the final product of the super beginner version of the iconic Daily Duppy-style. Alright then, that's the Daily Duppy-style sorted. I hope you lot enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. If you want to see part 2, make sure you like, comment and subscribe so you don't miss the next one if it drops. If you ever want to check out more tutorials, free project files or anything like that, be sure to subscribe and I'll see you lot in the next one.